The world of collectibles and antiques is a fascinating one, filled with stories of discovery, history, and the thrill of the chase. Few items capture the imagination quite like a relic from a musical legend, and when a guitar purportedly owned by Jimi Hendrix made its way onto the set of Pawn Stars Asterisk, it wasn't just another day at the shop. It was an event that sent ripples through both the music and memorabilia communities. The episode featuring this extraordinary piece of rock and roll history quickly became one of the most talked about moments in the show's history. Even though $600,000 was offered for the instrument, the deal ultimately fell through, leaving fans and collectors alike wondering what might have been. To understand why a single guitar could command such attention, one must first appreciate the legacy of Jimi Hendrix himself. Widely regarded as one of the greatest guitarists of all time, Hendrix revolutionized music in the late 1960s with his innovative techniques, electrifying performances, and boundary-pushing creativity. His influence on rock music cannot be overstated. He redefined what the electric guitar could do, blending blues, jazz, funk, and psychedelia into a sound that remains unparalleled. Songs like Purple Haze, All Along the Watchtower, and Voodoo Child, Slight Return are timeless classics that continue to inspire musicians across genres. Hendrix's untimely death at the age of 27 only added to his mystique, cementing his status as a cultural icon. As a result, anything associated with him, whether it's handwritten lyrics, stage-worn clothing, or, most coveted of all, one of his guitars, is considered a treasure among collectors. These artifacts aren't just objects, they're tangible connections to a man whose impact on music and culture is immeasurable. The guitar in question arrived at the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas under circumstances that were as intriguing as the item itself. Its owner claimed it had once belonged to Jimi Hendrix, though details about how it came into their possession were somewhat murky. According to the seller, the guitar had been passed down through family members who had ties to Hendrix's inner circle during his heyday. While provenance is always critical when authenticating such high-value items, the sheer possibility that this was a genuine Hendrix guitar was enough to pique the interest of Rick Harrison, the shop's charismatic owner and resident expert. Upon closer inspection, the guitar bore several characteristics consistent with those Hendrix was known to play. It featured a Fender Stratocaster body style, which Hendrix famously favored throughout his career. Additionally, there were signs of heavy use, scratches, wear marks, and modifications that suggested it had seen extensive action on stage or in the studio. However, these attributes alone weren't sufficient proof of authenticity. Rick knew that verifying the guitar's origins would require more than just visual examination. It would take the expertise of specialists well-versed in musical instruments and memorabilia. In situations involving potentially valuable artifacts, Pawn Stars Asterisk often brings in outside experts to provide additional insight. For this particular guitar, the team enlisted the help of a renowned appraiser specializing in vintage guitars and rock memorabilia. This expert conducted a meticulous evaluation, examining everything from serial numbers and manufacturing dates to unique markings and structural modifications. They also cross-referenced the guitar against documented evidence of Hendrix's known instruments, including photographs, concert footage, and personal accounts from people close to him. While some aspects aligned with what one might expect from a Hendrix guitar, others raised red flags. For instance, certain customizations appeared inconsistent with Hendrix's typical preferences, and there was no definitive documentation linking this specific instrument directly to him. Despite these uncertainties, the appraiser acknowledged that the guitar possessed significant historical value, even if its connection to Hendrix couldn't be conclusively proven. In cases like this, where rarity and association combine, the market can still assign substantial worth based on perceived importance. Given the guitar's potential significance, Rick decided to make an offer reflective of its value, but not without careful consideration. After consulting with the appraiser and weighing the risks involved, he proposed $600,000, a staggering sum by any standard. For context, this amount places the guitar in the upper echelon of collectible instruments, rivaling prices paid for other iconic pieces of music history. Yet, despite the generous offer, the seller hesitated. There are several reasons why a seller might reject such a lucrative deal. In this case, it likely came down to differing perceptions of the guitar's true worth. The seller may have believed that further authentication efforts, or simply waiting for a better opportunity, could yield a higher price. Alternatively, sentimental attachment might have played a role, making it difficult to part with something so deeply tied to personal or familial history. Whatever the reason, the decision not to accept Rick's offer underscored the complexities inherent in buying and selling rare artifacts. For collectors, acquiring a piece of Jimi Hendrix memorabilia represents more than just owning a valuable object. It's about preserving a slice of musical history. Instruments once wielded by legendary artists carry immense emotional weight, serving as conduits to moments of brilliance and innovation. As such, demand for these items tends to remain robust, driven by passionate enthusiasts willing to pay top dollar for authenticated relics. However, the absence of concrete proof complicates matters significantly. Without irrefutable documentation confirming ownership or usage by Hendrix, many serious collectors would hesitate to invest such a large sum. This creates a delicate balancing act for sellers, who must decide whether to hold out for a buyer willing to overlook gaps in provenance or settle for a lower but guaranteed return. In this instance, the seller opted for the former, banking on the hope that future revelations or shifting market conditions might justify their patience. The unresolved nature of this transaction leaves room for speculation about the guitar's future. Will new evidence emerge to solidify its link to Hendrix? Might another collector step forward with a higher bid? Or will the guitar languish in obscurity, its story forever shrouded in mystery? Each scenario carries its own implications for the broader world of music memorabilia. If the guitar is eventually authenticated beyond doubt, its value could skyrocket, potentially fetching millions at auction. Conversely, should doubts persist, its appeal may diminish over time, relegating it to niche interest rather than mainstream acclaim. Either way, the saga serves as a reminder of the challenges and rewards inherent in pursuing rare and historically significant items. Ultimately, the appearance of the purported Hendrix guitar on *Pawn Stars* highlights broader questions about how we assign value to objects tied to famous figures. Is it purely monetary, or does intrinsic meaning factor into the equation? For Rick Harrison and his team, striking the right balance between skepticism and enthusiasm is key to navigating this complex terrain. And for viewers, witnessing these negotiations offers a glimpse into the intricate dance between fact, fiction, and fortune that defines the world of collectibles. As the dust settles on this particular episode, one thing is clear: the allure of Jimi Hendrix endures, transcending generations and continuing to captivate those who cherish his groundbreaking contributions to music. Whether or not this guitar ever finds its rightful place in the pantheon of Hendrix memorabilia, its brief moment in the spotlight has reignited conversations about the enduring power of artistry and the lengths to which people will go to preserve its legacy.